record. Oh, that's fine. So Ottoman is just joining. Fantastic. One of our supporters. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you all here. Oh, lovely.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Great. Let's get rolling. Padmaja, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and wish you all a very happy International Women's Day. It's a very, very special day in the year. And welcome to this special webinar that we are having today. To start with introducing myself, my name is Padmaja. I live in Bangalore in India, and I'm on the board of Pollinate India. I'm also a career consultant. I'm a partner with PwC India. And as a part of my work, I have been involved a lot in the development sector. Pollinate has a very unique model. It's a transformative model which looks at empowerment of women, livelihoods for women, through climate resistant approaches to entrepreneurship. So that's a very unique model where there are twin objectives. And to that extent, there's a huge commitment to the SDG goals, and we'll hear more about that from our other board member, Marnie, and from our CEO, Sujata. So, what excited me about coming on board here at Pollinate? As I mentioned, as a part of my work, I've been involved a lot in the development sector, and I've just seen the need for transformative approaches that can help scale and address the issues that we need on the ground in our country. We have one of the lowest participation rates of women in the workforce in India. That's not something we are proud about. From an international average of about 50%, I think we are at 32%. So we're making progress, and that's really great. But having said that, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. And this is not just about livelihoods. It's not just about livelihoods, but there's enough research that shows that with financial independence, with empowerment, comes so many other benefits, just a host of benefits that uplift society, right? Whether it's about better quality of lives for the family, better upbringing for children, declining fertility rates, and that is what is needed at this point in our country. I've also seen as a leader in a large organization, we have about 30,000 workforce, just the power of a vibrant, diverse workforce when it comes to looking at outcomes. So I'm very excited about the work that we do here at Pollinate. Very keen to see that how can we scale this to have impact at scale on the ground. And welcome you all once again. And I'll request Marnie, our board member, to speak to us a little bit as well. So Marnie, over to you.
Thank you, Padmaja, and welcome everyone from all over the world. It's great for you to spend this time to understand a little bit more about the Pollinate journey. And here on the 8th of March, 2025, we're here celebrating International Women's Day and reflecting on what that means and how that aligns to the work that's being done by Pollinate. And our CEO, Sujata, will be bringing that to life for you in just a few minutes. But before we jump to Sujata, I would want to explain a bit more about how the operations of Pollinate, play out. And I sit on the board in Australia for Pollinate. My career has been in energy transition as a electrical power engineer, and I've always been very active and passionate about the impact it has on the livelihoods of those people who are impacted by the energy sector. I think it's important to note that International Women's Day theme this year is acceleration of action. And I think there's no time like the present to reflect on how more than ever we need to make sure that those who don't have the ability to access everything that they possibly should and could have for a better future, what can we all do to sort of make that possible? I wanted to think about the Sustainable Development Goals and the work that Pollinate's done across the goals. I think they're 1, 5, and 7. So no poverty, gender equality, and clean and affordable energy. These are really, the combination of those three are really important. And I don't know any other organisation who addresses them as clearly and as directly as Pollinate. It is International Women's Day. So all around the world, there's various groups who are representing the quest for women. And we just heard from Padmaja about some of the issues in India and globally, those and other issues are reflected. And what I love most about International Women's Day is the permission to speak about those issues and to rally a better level of education and advocacy for, channeling the facts and the figures, the numbers with the passion as well for change. So I think that's sort of reflecting on all those things. This is why we're here today, to understand and think more about how that works in the Pollinate context. I've been involved in Pollinate for more than 10 years, and I've seen many groups of professional fellows head from all over the world to India and have had life-changing experiences. And I've also, heard the stories, and I'm really proud of the work Pollinate does to touch the lives of so many people in India. And the impact that has on the supporters and philanthropy activity that happens all over the world. And I think that's why the giving circles and some of the channels for which we can give into Pollinate are really important to join those dots and to make it real for all those people. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to Sujatha, who's going to introduce us to someone special.
Well, thank you so much, Padmaja and Marnie, for joining us, and a few of our other board members here, Scott and Adrian as well. It's a very, very special day. It's International Women's Day, and it's been made more special with one of our empowered women entrepreneurs, Lakshmi, who has joined us here. Pollinate, like Marnie and Padmaja mentioned, is deeply committed to gender equality as the first, commitment that we have, and we do that by providing entrepreneurship as a livelihood skill for women like Lakshmi. And through that, they have access to income that's otherwise not available to folks like Lakshmi. Lakshmi has not stepped into a school. She's not educated. And the very fact that they are not educated denies a whole range of opportunities that are available for anyone that has a basic read write capability anywhere in the world. And when they are not even given an opportunity to gain access to education, they are left behind, very, very far behind. And folks like Lakshmi, when they join the Pollinates program, what they gain is access to livelihood. And how does that access happen? Since they all come from absolute off-grid locations, which is tents, blue tents that are pitched very close to one another. In fact, I was at her community yesterday briefing her about what we're going to do today. I saw plenty of people and children still continue to live in those blue tents with no access to water, electricity, sanitation, nothing. They live off the grid across all parameters of what we all, have as basic access. And Pollinate does need assessments in these communities and provides her with a bouquet of inventory, largely clean energy products and women's hygiene products and certain other home appliances that she distributes in these communities and makes her income come true. Now, she's been with us for about 5 years. And what's most heartening to know is that she's moved out of the community because she has access to additional income, and she's gone to a proper home with a solid roof above her head and with running water. And that's what she's very, very thrilled about. So I'm opening this as a discussion with all of you. If any of you have any questions for Lakshmi, I will translate it to her, and whatever she replies, I'm happy to translate that back to you. Would anybody like to ask her any questions?
Could Lakshmi maybe tell us a little bit about her journey? I think we'd all be very keen to hear more about it.
Yes, thank you. ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ, ಹೆಂಗಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಶುರು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಜೋರಾಗಿ.
ಇದು ನಾನು ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಕಸನೆ ನನ್ನ ಆಸೆ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಸೂರ್ಯಮುಖಿ ಇದಾದ್ರಾಗ ಲೇಟ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ದೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರ್ತದ ನಮಗೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ಇದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೂರ್ಯಮುಖಿ ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಬಂದು ಲೈಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಇವಾಗ.
So initially, when she was approached to start this journey, she thought a lot about it. She wasn't too sure, but she said, yes, let me give this a shot. And then that's how she wanted to become a Suryamukhi. Incidentally, the word Suryamukhi means a sunflower. And the sunflower traces the way the sun moves, the flower moves around. And that's what we want to call as transformation in the lives of these women. And she's very happy that she's a Suryamukhi. ಇದು ಶುರು ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಯೋಚನೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ದು?
ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಗಂತೆ ಏನ್ ಆತದೋ ಇದೇನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತದೋ ಏನೋ ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಸೂರ್ಯಮುಖಿದಂತೆ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನೋ ನೋಡೋಣ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಕಸಿ ಯಾವ ತರ ಆತದೋ ನೋಡೋಣ ನಾನು ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದ್ರಾಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ.
So initially she wasn't too sure, but she said, okay, let me give this a shot. And that's how she said, I will try being a Suryamukhi. And now she feels that she's succeeded in doing that. ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕತ್ಕೊಂಡಕ್ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ?
ಏನೇನದು ಲೇಟ್ನಾಗ ನಮಗ್ ಮಾರಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲಿದ್ದೆ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತದೋ ನಮಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನ್ಕಸನೇನೆ ನಾನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಾಕ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು.
She said she just wanted to start it with, waiting for answers from the above. And she said, she got the answer saying she should continue on this journey. And she felt very supported with a lot of people from Pollinate meeting her. And that made her very happy and inspired to continue on this journey. The kind of meetings she had with the Pollinate people helped her gain a lot of confidence. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ ಆಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಅದು ಫೋನಲ್ಲಿ
ನಮ್ಮ ಯಜಮಾನ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇರ್ತಾಗಿನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಕಸಿ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅವಾಗ ಅಂತಿರ್ತೀನಿ.
So the other thing is she still doesn't have a smartphone of her own. She has, this is her button phone. But her husband has a smartphone and she uses the app that we've created. We have an app for women entrepreneurs like her, which is not read write, capability is not required to work on the app. And she accesses her husband's phone and she accesses the app. And that app helps her place the stock request, understands where the money that she earns is, given in a dashboard, what is her income, because she's uneducated, she can't compute her income. So the app helps her understand what her income is and what her outstanding is. And that's how she's been able to manage her business as well. Any more questions from anyone else?
Well, I had a question just to bring it alive for us. What sort of products and how many products does she sell in a month?
ನೀವು ಯಾವ ತರ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಒಂದ್ ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ?
ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಅವಾಗ ಫುಲ್ ಜೋಪಡಿಗಳದಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ನಾಗ ಲೈಟ್ಗನ ಒಂದ್ ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದ್ 4-5 ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಜೋಪಡಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ರೂಮ್ಗಳದಾಗ ಸೇರಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 1 ಲೈಟ್ 2 ಲೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಯ್ತು. ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಿಂಚಿ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ.
ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅದ್ 6,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕಸಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. 6,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮಾರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಲೈಟ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗಂತೆ 2,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 3,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ, ಇವಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ 3,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಏರ್ಸ್ಯಾರ. ಅದ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಿಂಚಿಂದ ಏನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
So she's kind of doing a lot of solar products. Earlier, she used to sell between 4 to 5 lights in her community. And over a period of time, the communities have all had access to lights. And now it's come down to 1 or 2 lights per month. And she also sells solar fans. And solar fans sells only during the summer months. And she remembers the price for all of that. It's between 6,000, now it's 7,000. Solar lights started at 2,000 and now it's become 3,000 over the last 5 years. So she's understood the price transition that has happened over the last 4 to 5 years. What she also mentioned is there are people that have also moved out of the community, which is very, very heartening to know as well. They've all moved to Pakka, homes, and hence, she's not able to sell more lights into the communities. More questions for her?
I think I would love to hear about how does she feel, you know? I think she's spoken, and thank you for translating, Sujata, on how the quality of her life has improved. She's moved out to another home. Does she feel any different
Yeah.
about herself?
ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಶುರು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ತಾಕತ್ ಬಂತ, ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನುಮಾನ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಹೆಂಗಿರತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ ಮನೇಲಿ ನಿಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ?
ಕರೆಕ್ಟೇ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು, ನನ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಬೇರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇದ್ರಾಗ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ 2 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿ 3 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಲೈಫ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ?
ನನ್ನ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತೆ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಇದ್ರಾಗ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತದ ನನ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು.
So yeah, she says, yes, I want to experiment with this to see if I can have access to income, because when that income comes, definitely her life will improve. Her life will change. So that's the expectation with which she started. And now she's very happy that, she tried and she succeeded. And this has, changed her life. And now she's very happy that she's part of this journey and that has transformed her. Ita?
If I can just push on this, does she feel more confident about her abilities?
ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಧೈರ್ಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ? ಇದು ಬಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ, ಇದಕ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ನೀವು ಅಷ್ಟು ಧೈರ್ಯ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಧೈರ್ಯ
ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದೈತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಬಂದದ ಅದು ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬಂದದ. ತುಂಬಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಇದೇನ್ ಎಷ್ಟ ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇದಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟದ. ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ.
Yeah, absolutely, Padmaja. You're absolutely right. She says, yes. Before this, I was not at all confident of speaking. But after this, yes, I'm very confident of speaking. I've got that. She says, Dairya. Dairya means she's got the courage and the boldness to speak to people. And that's something that ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ
ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬಂದದಂತೆ. ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಮೇಲೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ನನಗ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಯಾವಾಗಾಗ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಖುಷಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಖುಷಿ ಮೇಲೆ ನಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡಿ. ಹೇಳಿ.
Sujatha, I think there was a question from Michelle. Michelle, did you have a question? I wasn't sure if there was other people on the call who had put up their hand.
Yes, hi. I'm just relocating myself. I was interested if she could speak to where she sells the products and how she sells them to people, and if that's changed over the time that she's been working with Pollinate.
ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಮಿಶೆಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ ಹತ್ರ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ
ಈ ತರ ತಗೋಬೇಕಮ್ಮ, ಲೇಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾವ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಬರ್ತದ, ಲೈಟ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, 1 ವರ್ಷ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನೇನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ನನಗ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ರಿ, ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸ್ಕೇಸಿ ನಾವ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ನಿನ್ನೆ ಅವ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಆಮೇಲೆ?
ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಆತದಮ್ಮ, ನಂದೇ ಅದು ಮ್ಯಾಲಿದ್ದಂಗ ಬಂದದ, ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಕೋಬಾಡ್ರಿ. ಬೇಕಿರ್ತ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೇಸಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. ಆ ತರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಅವರು ಏನೇನ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಬೇಡ, ಇದು ಇನ್ನೇನ್
ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೋ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಲೈಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಬರ್ತದ, ಇದು ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ಬಹಳ ಲೈಟ್ಗಳು ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಗಳು ಕೆಟ್ಟೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟವ, ವೈರ್ಗಳು ಇಲಿ ಕಟ್ತಾ ಇದಾವ. ಅವು ಕಡ್ದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತ ನನಗ್ ತಂದು ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ನನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಮ್ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಮ್ ಸಾರ್, ನಮ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಯ್ತು, ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರ್ತದ ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಆತದ ಒಂದ್ 15 ದಿವಸ, 1 ತಿಂಗಳ ಆತದ. ಅಷ್ಟು ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ.
ಸೊ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ
ಏನ್ ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್,
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ? ವಾವ್. She says it's not very difficult to sell. So she says the way she talks to her customers is that this is a product that brings light to you, and I can stand guarantee for this product. And even if there is a fault that occurs with the product, or if it malfunctions, please reach out to me and I will take it to my company and I will have it sorted for you. So I think she builds on the credibility of the product, capability, or the robustness of the product. And that's how she, convinces them to buy these products. And she also stands guarantee to say, if it fails, you give it to me in a couple of weeks, I will have that repaired and given to you. So she kind of, gives them the confidence that she's the person that can stand guarantee for the working of the product. And in case it fails, the making sure that it's serviced in time and given to them. So that's what she does. Okay, madam.
And where does she sell them? Is she in a market or in an informal way? Where does she set up? And what else does she sell besides the products as well? If she only sells a few of these products, what else does she sell?
Yes. So her community, Michelle, I'll send you just after this meeting, I'll send you a short video which will showcase the type of communities that these women come from. They all come from a large ground where there are lots of small blue tents that are pitched. So there are about 50, 60 in a smallest community, and in some bigger communities you'll have about 100, 150 tents. So her market is people living in that community, which means everyone is off the grid, which means everyone lives in the darkness after sunset, which means the relevance of these solar products and all solar products, including fans, lights, and everything, are very relevant to that community. She particularly sells solar products, and she's not selling many of the other products that we have, but many other, Suryamukis or women entrepreneurs in our chain sell a whole range of other products, which includes, mosquito repellents, mosquito nets, because summer months are very, very harsh with mosquitoes everywhere. They sell home appliances, they sell home cooking appliances, and they sell women's hygiene products. That's one of the basic products that they all start their entrepreneurship journey with, which are biodegradable sanitary pads and regular sanitary pads and so on. So that's those are the range of products that they sell.
Thank you.
And so, Jaffa, there's a question from Adrian online. I don't know if Adrian wants to ask it directly or we could just ask it here. Adrian, do you want to jump in?
Any feedback on how we operate? What could we do better to help even more successful?
Yes, I think
you've got it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so let me read out the question. Does she have any feedback on how we operate, what we could do to be better, to help her be even more successful, generate more
how
income?
can we help her be more successful, I think is the question. Yes. Are there more products or a different way that she would like to work that would make her more successful? It's a good question, Adrian.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಏಡ್ರಿಯನ್. ಏನೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನೀವು ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ?
ಇನ್ನೇನೇನೋ ಮಾಡೋದೈತೆ ಅಂತ ಇವಾಗ ಜನಗಳಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಊರುಗಳು ಸೇರ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಾರ. ಇವಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ, ಏನೇನ ಕೊಟ್ರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಸೇರಿ ಕಾನ್ಕಸನ್. ಇವಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ ಜನ ಇಲ್ಗಳಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಂತ ಅಷ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಂತೆ ಏನನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರಂತ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಕಸಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಂತೆ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ನಮ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕಸಿ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಕ್ ತರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ತರಿಸ್ತೀನಮ್ಮ ಅಂತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಬರ್ತದಂತೆ? ಒಂದು 3 ದಿವಸ 4 ದಿವಸ ಆತದಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ. ಅಷ್ಟು ತಪ್ಪ.
ನಾವೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ?
ನಮ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನೀವು
ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಹುದು? ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು?
ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದದು ನಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ನ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇದು ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಕಸನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವ್ರ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದ್ ಕಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೆ ನಾನ್ಗನ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಇಷ್ಟದ ಐತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ನಾವು ತಗಂತೀರಂತ ನಾನು ತರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ಕಸ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ನಾವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡೋದು, ನಮ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಸಾಕಾ? ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ನನಗಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗನ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಇರ್ತದ, ಕಂಪನಿಗನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತದ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಶೆ ಮೇಲೆ.
ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು? ನೀವ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು?
ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಂತೆ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ ಬಂದ ಕಸ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಾರಂತೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಆತರ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವೇ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ ಹೇಳಾರಂತ ನಾನ್ ನಿನಗ್ ಬಂದ ಕಸ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮ್ ಮೇಡಮ್ಗಳು ಇದಾರ, ನಮ್ ಸಾರುಗಳು ಇದಾರ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ನೀವ್ಗಾನ.
Okay. I asked her in 4-5 different ways, but she's very persistent on one point. She says she wants to serve her customers, very quickly. She says, if the customer comes and asks me for something, I'd like to be able to, complete that request for them. And in 4 or 5 different ways, when I asked her, she's very focused on how she wants to serve her customers. She also mentioned that many of the community people have moved out, and hence her market has shrunk. And hence the requirements that come from around her, she needs to aggregate needs from where she is living right now. And if she's able to service those needs in 4 to 5 days, I think right now we take more than 4 to 5 days to give her the products. So if we can reduce the number of days with which we are able to provide her with whatever product she requests that her customers are asking her for, we will be able to give her a better customer service for her customers. She's also saying she wants to grow. She wants to do more. I want to go do a little more, and but I just want to make sure that my customers get their products quicker than what it is right now. Thanks, Adrian, for that question.
Can I press a little more? I understand getting product out quicker is important. But on the product question, are there other products maybe we're not thinking about that she can see on the ground that, you know, there's a demand for an unserved, unmet need? I'm just wondering, I'm sure we can address the speed problem and get things out quicker, but are there some other product ideas that would really help this lady grow her business bigger and make a bigger impact?
Thank you, Adrian. I'll translate this to her. ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಬೇರೆ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗತ್ತೆ, ಆತರ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಅವ್ರು ಇದು ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಆತರ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ?
ತಗೊಂತಾಗ ಏನೇನ್ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯತೆ ಕುಕ್ಕರು ಏನೇನೋ ಪ್ಯಾಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಅವ್ರ ವಸ್ತು ಹೆಂಗಸರಿಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ವೋ ಅವರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರ. ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ವು ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳೋದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಓಕೆ. ಶಿ ಸೇಸ್, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಬಂತ, ಇದು ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಏನ್ ಬಂತ್ಯಾ? ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಬಂತಾ?
ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಮಾಟ.
ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆತರ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ಸರಿ,
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ, ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ. So she says she's not made any such observations. She still sells cookers and sanitary pads over and above the solar products. That's something she sells. But I've requested her to, be observant to see if she can ask proactively. ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಕೇಳಿ, ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಇದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇನ್ನೇನ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು. Yes. So right now she doesn't have any recommendations of any new products that will be required by the community, but she will go and look for it. Yes.
I have a question just around the digital literacy and the financial literacy that she had to learn to do the role. What were the hardest things what did she find challenging, and how did she overcome those challenges?
ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ನೀವು ಆಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಕತ್ಕೋವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಬಂತು? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇದಾಗತ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ
ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಅದು ಈ ತರ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನಂತೆ, ಅದೇನ್ ಆಗ್ತದ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕಸ ನಾನು ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸರಿ ಆಯ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಂತೆ ನಾನು ತರಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ಕಸನಂತೆ. ಸರಿ ತರಿಸು, ಯಾವಾಗ ತಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರ ಅವ್ರ ಅಂದ್ರ, ಅದು ನಾನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ನೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವಾಗ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬಂತ ಈಗ?
ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬಂತು.
ಅದು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬಂತು?
ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಬಾಳ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತದ, ಹೆಂಗ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತದ ಅಂತ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತದ ಅನ್ಸ್ತದೆ.
ಅದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀರಾ? ಆಪ್ ಜೊತೆ ತೋರಿಸಿದೀರಾ?
ಅದು ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಂದ್ರು ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕಂತ ತರಿಸ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ, ತರಿಸ್ತೀನಮ್ಮ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರಂತ ನಾನು ತರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ಕಸ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು.
So initially she was hesitant. She didn't know, if she opens the app, what will happen if I press some buttons, and I was very unsure. But then I said, okay, let's give it a try. I think the one thing consistent about this lady is she has hesitations, but she's taking that extra step. Let's see what happens, kind of a thought process. So that's wonderful. So she said, let's try. And she started trying, and now she's comfortable. There are products listed in the app, and she now takes the app and shows it to her customers and shows the product list that we have, and asks them if they need any of those products. ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷದಾಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಇದು ಆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
2 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು.
Yeah, she's using the app for the last 2 years now. Thanks for that
Can I
question.
ask another question, Sujata?
Yes, please.
I'm interested. I know we've talked a little about what this lady does every day, but I'm wondering, is this like a full-time,
Yeah.
like, does it occupy her time, and is that sufficient to generate enough income throughout the month to sort of
Yeah. I'll answer
make enough impact?
Yes, I'll answer that question. This is not her full-time job. She goes to these, Adrian, you would have seen those tall buildings in Bangalore, which has paying guest accommodations for young
Yes.
Executives. So she goes to clean one of those buildings during the day. In fact, today she's taken 2 hours permission to come here. She goes at 8 a.m. She comes back at 4 p.m. every day. Even we meet her after 4 p.m. The work that she does as a Suryamukhi starts at 4 p.m. and goes on until 6:37. And it's kind of blends into the scheme of things because the communities are all empty during the day. Everybody goes for their daily labor work, and there are no people to talk to in the communities during the day. They all come back home and they're all out cooking between 5 and 6 and 7, and that's when she moves around the communities talking to people. So she has another source of income, and this is the additional source of income.
Thank you.
Could I ask how a question about the digital connectivity in where she lives? And I think she said she uses her husband's phone. Is connectivity, the cost related to having a phone or data or things like that, is that a barrier to her engagement in the sales area, or to other women that you've worked with? Is the actual cost of a phone or paying for it or managing a phone a barrier at all?
Very wonderful question, Michelle. It's a combination of all of that. Definitely, this phone is a lot more cheaper than a smartphone. So first is the cost barrier to access the smartphone. Once you access it, the data plans, the connectivity is not an issue. It's very, very affordable in India. It's not a challenge. However, there are basic plans and there are certain higher level plans. They consume a lot of that data more for entertainment, and hence the base level plans data is consumed. So they have to take a slightly higher level plan to do more than just basic entertainment. For her, the access to the smartphone through her husband, who also goes to a hospital as a cleaner, comes back home in the evening, so she has access to it when he comes back home, and they she has access to it when she's in the community. That's how she manages it. In fact, her husband called me twice this morning, "Madam, please send her back safely." I said, "Absolutely, we'll send her back." I will send her. I brought her in my car and I'm sending her back in my car. Do not worry. I met him and I convinced him that she's going to be very safe. So they are still, not very comfortable and confident in providing her with, that kind of freedom. And he's a very nice guy. He's not I'm sure he's not the kind of other men that we see in the community. So that's the good part. But yes, the cost of access is one, and the second is the connectivity exists, but the cost of connectivity goes up as we speak. And some of our women entrepreneurs have been able to gain access to smartphones through schemes. If they do consistently over 3 to 4 months, they will be given a smartphone as part of their incentive. So now I'm going to make sure that she gets into that plan and gets access to one smartphone soon enough.
I was curious about access to smartphones, if it's a requirement to become involved with Pollinate. If Pollinate works with any partners, corporate or government, to get donated phones at all, if there's any device circular economy considerations in actually where you procure your devices and the cost of devices and how that relates to the program.
Yes, Michelle, that's a wonderful idea. We should pursue some of those and see how we can provide certain refurbished phones as well. Under the scheme, she could get a new phone. So we'll work on all of those options for her. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Wonderful idea.
we are trying to encourage that in Australia a lot. There's a lot of devices sitting in various places that could easily be repurposed, for so many causes. And so that's why I thought, since that's part of what I'm doing during my job, it's encouraging that here in Australia to see if that happens, if it's a part of the thought process for Pollinate as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the kind of transformation a digital phone does, one of the other Suryamukis that we met about a year and a half ago, she told me that if she's transacting through a smartphone, she feels she's like an educated woman because only the educated can use the smartphone. An uneducated woman cannot use a smartphone. So that gives her that power to just see herself amongst the educated. So yeah, it is truly transformative.
Thank you.
And we also want people to start having digital financial literacy more than the fact that we show them the business learning through the smartphone. We want them to transact, financially through smartphones as well. That's another solid endeavor that we have so that there's less dependent on cash and they're on the digital modes of payments. And that's another thing that we are very deeply committed to bringing them all on board. It's slightly easier to bring our women on board on that, but their customers, who not all of them have digital financial transaction capability. Again, two barriers. One is access to smartphone in their hands, and then the confidence to transact financially, digitally as well. So those are the two barriers that her customers also have, which is also one of the ripple effects of working on this woman. When she is empowered to do so, she becomes the ambassador or the advocate for convincing her community members also to come onto the digital platform. So that's how the ripple effect of working on one woman in a community provides that digital access and the clean energy access to everyone in the community.
Any other questions or suggestions? I think this has been great in terms of ideas of what more Pollinate can do as well. So, any other questions or thoughts?
Have any of the women involved with Pollinate become digital literacy or financial literacy mentors in their community in any formal sense? Are there cases where they've been empowered to actually provide that support as part of their engagement with Pollinate, just to be not just an advocate for digital, but an advocate for using digital in a safe and informed way in their communities? Is that any part of what their training involves?
Fantastic question, Michelle. We've just plugged a proposal. Maybe Ravi can talk in detail about it. We've plugged a proposal with a corporate to, take away the cyber security fears in communities so that our women can become those advocates of, in the community to remove or build more cybersecurity confidence in the community. So we've just plugged a proposal with a corporate, fingers crossed, if we get that, we'll start, empowering our women to be those champions to work in the communities to do so. Ravi, you want to add a few words on that?
Absolutely. I think we are also doing certain exclusive projects, especially with corporates like ICC, which is International Chamber of Commerce, which is aimed at increasing awareness around financial literacy or fears around why people do not use online payments, etc. So that's something which has been a constant project, and I think cyber security project, I'm very keen to kickstart that, because that would address largely the community rather than just the women entrepreneurs. So we want this information to actually go to the wider community, because when the community participates in the digital aspect of the entire program, then we are able to cover a wider ecosystem. So yes, that definitely is something that I'm looking forward to and hoping that April or May we should be able to kickstart that project.
Great, that's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, at this
I
point,
just had one question, probably. So sorry, Sujata, go ahead.
so just one point before you jump to a question. At this point, we also want to thank Adrian for his support on the basic digital literacy offtake in the community as well. He's been consistently supporting us. So thank you so much for that, Adrian. Go on, Ravi.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what is the goal that Lakshmi has?
Namaste, La. She thinks Lakshmi means she's saying bye, no bye and all. Wait.
No, bye.
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ Ravi, just ask her in Kannada, no?
ಆ, ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರೇ,
ಹಾ
ನೀವು
ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಏನ್ ಗುರಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ? ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಗುರಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ಹೌದು.
ಏನ್ ಗುರಿ ಇದೆ ನಿಮ್ದು?
ಏನ್ ಗುರಿ ನಿಮ್ದು? ನಿಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಗುರಿ ಇದೆ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗುರಿ?
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್
ಹಾ
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇನ್ನ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಇನ್ನ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಇರ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗ್ ಆಗ್ತದ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಐತೆ.
ಓಕೆ, ಅದಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ?
ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡೋಣ, ದೇವ್ರ ಇದಾನ. ಅಷ್ಟವರೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು.
Go ahead, Ravi. You only translate. Is Ravi there?
Actually, I couldn't hear because there was
Oh.
a distortion. So probably,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Let me just say, she's really definitely wants to become a lot more successful as an entrepreneur. She wants to do more as an entrepreneur. That's one goal she has. Then she says, God is there. He will take care of everything after that. And she doesn't seem to have a personal goal, but I've requested her to think about it. She still says, God has been kind, and I just want to do more as an entrepreneur.
thanks, Sujata. Appreciate it.
Well, Sajaf, just a comment from me. You know, we can sit in other places of the world and hear about the Pollinate story through the numbers, the reporting, the year-on-year growth, and some of the success metrics that we put out for the business that we're definitely tracking and able to measure tangible outputs. But to have these conversations and bring it to life with Lakshmi and this story is great. And I know there's, you know, hundreds of other women out there who are championing this model. So with Pollinate. So thank you for sharing this today.
Thank you so much, Marnie. All that we seek is, more support from your networks and in any which way that anyone here can, take the word about Pollinate and join our Suryamukhi circle. We've been opening this Suryamukhi circle for the last couple of years. It's been around, where we invite people to come and take at least a dozen Suryamukhis and be a part of their transformation journeys. That's what we want to, take forward and have groups of supporters supporting groups of women so that it becomes a nice, intimate engagement and they can see their transformation close by. And I can only tell you how great it feels to see their lives transform. And we invite you all to be, a part of that transformation that you bring into these people's lives. So and thanks to so many of you here already, Michelle, Adrian, Mani, Padmaja, all of you, Scott, all of you doing phenomenal support for us over the last several years, more than a decade. And this is the transformation that you see in front of you. In sum and substance, I'd just like to, sum up the work that Pollinate does. Pollinate very clearly focuses on women. Gender is our firm commitment. And when we say we work on women, what do? We give them entrepreneurship as a skill, which is a deep-rooted, long-term, climate-resilient skill. God forbid people living in communities such as hers are the ones that will get displaced in case there is a climate disaster. But entrepreneurship as a skill keeps them, gives them the skill to survive, rebuild, start their lives wherever they go. So that's the strength of entrepreneurship as a skill. And once we train them on entrepreneurship, we don't stop there. We provide them with inventory of clean energy products to practice the skill of entrepreneurship. That's the extra mile that Pollinate goes to help these women to practice what they are being taught. And these clean energy products immediately improve the health conditions of everyone in the community. And by doing all of this, the woman has access to a dignified source of income. So that's the strength that we have in our hand. And that's the strength which I want you all to bring to the table and help support many, many more Lakshmis in India and Nepal.
Wonderful. I think it's been a very enriching conversation. As Marnie said, it's one thing to see reports, it's another to actually have the opportunity to engage with a Lakshmi and so many more like her. So I think the things that really stood out, one is just, when you translated Sujata, you spoke about the fact many times that she wants to grow, right? So I think financial independence is important, but I also feel that the whole spirit to say I want to grow, I love the fact about saying I want the best possible customer service, right? So it's really the whole strive for excellence. I want to give the products in less than 4 to 5 days. And I think to me, that is as important a part of the transformation journey as financial independence. It was very inspiring to hear from her.
Thank you, Padmaja.
Thank you.
Well, fantastic.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. Thanks a lot for all your time. Deeply grateful to take time off on a very special day, the International Women's Day, to be a part of, Pollinate's webinar. Thank you all for your time. And with all your wishes, I'm sure we'll surge ahead and impact many thousands of women in the future.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
please
Thank
check
you,
out the
everybody.
links. There's some special videos that we're going to be sharing rather than showing on the live web. So Sujatha is going to send the links to those.
Yes, I will. Just after this
That will
webinar.
wrap up the messages. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all your time and all your wishes for Pollinate.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
Mm.
Bye, Lakshmi.